Hola Mis Amores! Hello everybody if you are returning and clicking on another one of my videos. But if you are new, hello, welcome. Please make sure to subscribe button down below. I would love it if you would join my little family here on YouTube. I do post twice a week, but just in case, make sure to turn those notifications on just to let you don't miss any of my videos. So now for today, the reason that you clicked on this video, I will be doing a beginner's makeup tutorial. Now I wanted to show you guys my way of how I learned how to do my makeup and what works for me, all the tips and tricks. So if you would like to see all of that, then make sure to keep on watching. I do want to put like a little disclaimer that this is the way that I found was the best way to do my makeup, and I just want to show you guys my little like tips, tricks, the stuff that I use. Start off, I am going to go in with my moisturizer. It's the Clinique Dramatically Different Moisturizing Lotion. Now I realized along the way, because I have used like different moisturizers, that I prefer hydrating ones over any other type of moisturizer, to be honest. I feel like if you have a dry skin, this is definitely going to help you with not only the hydrating part of the makeup, but also if you feel that your foundation kind of gets a little bit flaky, that is because you need a moisturizer on your skin. I do like to go into the Evian facial spray. I actually found this at TJ Maxx, and this stuff is literally amazing. So I'm gonna go ahead and spritz my face with this. I also really like, guys, I like go in with a few things, but I also do like to go into the Glow Recipe Watermelon Glow Ultra Fine Mist. Oh hello dear. He likes to give little cameos, huh? So I go in with this to give me a little bit of extra glow. Oh my god, this stuff smells amazing. Okay, so I gave it a few minutes because I really want my skin to just like suck all the moisture that it can in. You do not, and I repeat, you do not have to do all of that. If you get just a really good moisturizer in your skin, in your prep routine, then you'll be solid. I'm just a little bit extra, and I like to do all that extra stuff because I love for my skin to look really nice and plump. I also did want to mention that I literally like to let my under eye cream really like stay on there for a cool minute before I put anything on. The one that I've been using is the Glow Recipe Guava Vitamin C gel cream. This stuff is amazing. Always a really good idea to put something on your under eye so that way your concealer doesn't look very dry. And now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go into my primer. I use the Huda Beauty Glowish Blur Jam primer. This stuff is literally so good, and you do not have to use a lot of this, which I think is the best part. So this is what it looks like right here. I got the most minimal amount. This is exactly what I'm talking about. It's not even a lot. I'm just gonna go in and just press this in to the area where I have a lot of pores. Once I have it in there, I like to just go in and pat everything in. And then I'm just grabbing another minimal amount, and I put it on this side. I usually just put the Huda Beauty in my T-zone. I don't put it anywhere else. Once I've done my primer, I'm gonna let it sit for a little bit so it can kind of sink into my skin just a little bit more. What I'm gonna be using is the e.l.f. Halo Glow Liquid. Guys, this stuff is just like gold in a bottle. Literal. It's the best thing ever. It makes your skin look really nice. It evens out my skin tone, and I just think it just looks so pretty. You can also use this under foundation to make your foundation look extra glowy, but for me, I like to just use this on its own because it just gives me like the most perfect glow. For this one, there's no rhyme or reason. You just literally put it on your skin. I like to use a beauty blender for this stuff just because I feel like it just makes it look really nice and seamless, but you can also use a brush if you don't want the beauty blender to pick up a lot of the foundation. But I like to go into it with just a blender and call it a day. I like to stay away from my under eyes when I'm doing this process because I don't like for my under eye to look super cakey. Next thing that I do is I go into my concealer. The one that I've been loving is the She Glam Perfect Skin High Coverage Concealer. I actually found this on TikTok and I've been using it ever since. I'm just gonna add this in this little area here. And in this area, around my nose, around my lips, on top of my lip, and on top of this to cover this little creature that's on my face. So these are the areas that I normally put my concealer. For the most part, this never changes. I like to put it in these areas right here to brighten up so that it's not only bright underneath my eyes, but it's also, it kind of like evens it out for me. Next two things that I'm going to be using, I'm going to be using a cream bronzer and a cream blush. Now I've found that by using like the creams, I feel like the powders just sit so nicely on top. So I have been loving doing that. For my bronzer, I'm going to go into the Alley Oop Stack the Odds and Sun Kissed, and I'm going to use the bronzer that it comes with it. I'm going to use the Luxie 680 Pro Precision Face Brush. Now I feel like this brush is honestly perfect because it has the most perfect shape to fit in your cheekbone. To put the bronzer pretty high up, so I go from like on my ear and then I bring it in and I circle it in, so kind of to create that little like shape underneath my cheek, so that way it gives me some sort of shape. And then I go around my forehead to kind of lessen that area there, and then I do the same thing on this side. For my cream blush, you guys can see it's already like starting to like sculpt my face, which is what we want. I'm going to go into a different Alley Oop Stack the Odds. This one is in Sassy Pants because I love their blush that they have in here. I'm just going to grab a sponge, plop it on there, and then I just bring it up. Then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back into that same sponge that I did the e.l.f. with. I'm going to use it to blend out everything else. Just want to point out, blending is key here. You have to sit there and just be blending your little life away, then that is what we need to do. But it's always good to just make sure everything is blended out so that it looks a little bit more seamless. And I like to take the concealer on the side of my nose as well to kind of make my nose look a little bit smaller. And then I like to have that sharp edge to the eye so that way it can like lift my face. I'm gonna go into my Coty Airspun powder, and I'm gonna grab one of my little pink powder puffs. And then I like to go onto the back of my hand and try to take off all that excess powder. I'm going to blend everything out again. The same thing to the other side. I like to use this powder to just go all over my face. Have a little pimple, just go ahead and set that. Once you've done that, I feel like this next part is honestly one of the most important steps in the makeup routine, because the way that you apply this kind of really sets you up for how your face is going to look, how the structure of your face is going to look. So the next step would be the bronzer. You guys did see where I put the cream bronzer, but I always like to go into a powder on top to just set everything nicely so that it doesn't move and it stays in the same exact area that I put it on. If I use the Morphe Bronzer and Staycation, and I use this shade right here. I don't use a glittery one. I used to use glittery ones before, and I realized that it made it look like it had more texture in it, and I really didn't like that. So once I found that I could use a matte one, or that they had matte ones, or I finally used a matte one, I feel like it made the world of a difference. This placement is, again, very, very important. But I like to go from the top of my ear, as I did with the cream, and then just kind of just like hug my cheek like that, and then kind of just swoosh it back and forth. Also, by the way, I'm using the Luxie 522 tapered highlighter brush. This is a highlighter brush, and when I tell you that some brushes are meant for specific things, but you can use them for different areas in the face. It literally just fits so nice into my cheek. Again, this is another brush that literally fits so nice into the cheek. Another thing that I use the bronzer for is to contour my nose. And this little brush that I'm using, it's the Urban Decay Naked. It came with the palette. It looks like it's 88 MDEF definition. 88M definition brush. I use it to contour my nose, and I'm going to show you guys exactly how I do it. So I learned that for my specific nose, I feel like you have to work with your nose, play with your nose, contour just a little bit. Face is absolutely different, so you have to just work with your face. But for my specific face, I like to start from the eyebrow and just kind of like bring it in here and just work down. Okay, there's the start of it. And the same thing on this side, but for this side, I'm going to try to go as close to the line that I just made as possible, because that it makes your nose look smaller. Next step for me is going to be my blush. Guys, I was never a blush girly, like ever. As I started to like play more and more with it, I am completely obsessed with blush now. I don't feel like I can finish one of my makeup looks without it. So I love the Beauty Creation Murillo Twins collab that they did. It was called Quad Goals. I talk about this palette literally all the friggin' time because I feel like it's just the best palette. But I like to use this blush right here. The brush that I'm using for that is the $1 Billion brush, and it's their powder brush. It's concentrated in this area right here, and then just pull it up so that it doesn't look like it's just blush sitting on my cheek. To just tap it. I am not swooshing over my nose because I literally just did that nose contour. So I'm just stippling on to my nose, and I like to just like put it everywhere. I kind of use this almost to like blend everything together also, just because I feel like it just looks prettier that way. It looks a lot more seamless. Go ahead and set my face just because it just blends all of your powders together. It doesn't look like you have like cake face or anything like that. It just makes everything just sit on your face really nicely. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. The one that I'm using is the NYX matte makeup setting spray. I love both the dewy and the matte of this one, to be honest. It's so good. Just go in with a beauty sponge if I feel like the setting spray is just like sitting on my face. For my lips, I feel like the lips are just like the most important part of your face as well. But I like to go in with a brown lip liner. I like to use, I'm literally almost done. You can tell I love this stuff. But it's the Murillo Twins Beauty Creations collab that they did. And what I like to do with this is I like to overline my lips. So what I do is I only overline this bottom section right here and the Cupid's bow, and that is all that I overline. Other than that, it will go straight up to my lips. So let me kind of show you guys. Fill most of my lip with this. For my center, because I feel like this just makes it like pop and just look super pretty. It makes your lips look so much fuller. I mean, you can already kind of tell. It just makes my lips look so much fuller. But I like to use the cream blush that I used on my face to kind of just like bring everything together. And so I just grab some amount of this in the middle of my lips to kind of give it like that ombre effect. Last thing that I do is I go into my eyebrows because I feel like I've just been loving my natural brows. I just comb them up. The brush that I'm using is the Luxie 201 Brow and Lash Comb. I feel like it just takes everything off of my eyebrows and I'm able to comb them how I want them to be. Alright guys, so this is gonna be the end of this video. I really hope that you guys enjoyed it. Hope you learned a little bit of tips and tricks on how I learned how to do makeup. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and make sure to turn on those bell notifications on just so that you don't miss any of my videos. And I will see you all in the next one.